welcome back to Between Two Screens. I'm really excited to have on the show today Dina Lamanna-Murawski, a design principal at HOK Hospitality. Dina, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're chuckling because just before we started recording, I asked Dina if I should be using her new name, and I do want to take the opportunity to publicly congratulate you on your recent marriage. Just before COVID hit, you were able to have one of the last parties, so I'm sure it was a good one.
Thank you. Yes, I heard the bacon bar was worth it.
Perfect. So tell us, where have you been working from over the past couple of months, and how has it been going working remotely?
Yeah. You're looking at it, right? So my desk, the couch, the dining room table, all out of Long Beach, New York, on the island, Long Island. Got to keep it strong here. The great thing is we're rocking and rolling from afar and from digital, so we're cruising and staying safe.
So how did you first get into design? Is this something you were interested from as a kid? Did your career path take a circuitous route? I'd love to hear a little bit about how you got here.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I subconsciously found design. I actually had learning disabilities as a kid and found indirectly that different environments helped me to learn better and to concentrate better. So I just started running with that, and I just happened to also be a visual learner, and kind of putting those two concepts together, I always found myself, jotting diagrams, and I have a long lineage of family members that worked as stagehands on Broadway, developing, supporting the designs of theater and implementing them. So there is a little bit of a builder mentality in my family. My dad immigrated here from Italy in, the late 60s, early 70s, and just instilled a really great work ethic between both of my parents, and the sky was the limit. And I found design and art, and I was interested. Actually, I was probably slated to go to a state school. I was a big volleyball and softball player in high school. And then I blew out my knee senior year, and I had to literally go back to the drawing board. I mean, this was pre-internet days. So my mom had this big book of colleges, and she went through every single school until she found SCAD that had a nationally competing volleyball team and, a top of the line art and design program. And that was it. I just somehow knew interior design was for me. Yeah, my senior year, I think it was my senior year, David Rockwell came to speak to our school. And I really didn't know what hospitality design was. And, hearing him talk, seeing the great projects that Rockwell always does, it inspired me. And as soon as I came back up to New York, I was ready to go work for him.
Wow. And that was your first job out of school?
Yeah, I had dabbled in some internships on the residential side, but essentially, yeah, that was my first full-time gig right out of college. A few months after I graduated, I was very lucky, and it was an incredible experience to kind of catapult my career.
I'm sure through your teaching, you also have the opportunity to mentor students. And I believe in my research that I saw, you actually do some mentoring of design students.
Yeah.
What are you telling them right now? What advice are you giving to a recent graduate that was planning on going into, hospitality design? What should they do right now?
I spoke to one of the career counselors at SCAD just a few weeks ago, and she asked me the same question. And I'm not sure that there's a golden answer right now, but I think if you're passionate about design and being in a creative field, you'll figure it out. You just kind of keep chipping away at it. There's going to always be an opportunity. And even though this timing isn't great, I mean, if you look back at the 08-09 recession, I'm sure those graduating students had some of the same challenges. And now a lot of those people are senior designers who stuck it out or found unique opportunities. Maybe there's kind of a sidetrack that you can start just getting into the industry, getting exposure and making contacts, right? Because I feel like making contacts is half the battle in our industry, and those usually stay with you and present organic opportunities.
That's great advice. Yeah. Because some of them won't get a job immediately. They may not need to start paying rent because they're moved back in with their parents.
Right.
Sort of like, okay, well, what should I do for the next 6 months?
Right. And, if they are having trouble finding a job, what is a skill set that you can improve upon? Or is there an exam or a certification that you can knock out? So if the job, when, not if, when the job market gets stronger, you're that much more desirable and you have that many more bells and whistles on your resume. So, even some of our colleagues now are looking at different certifications while employed. So why not take advantage of it if you don't have a job, for sure.
And I actually am curious. I noticed that you are an adjunct professor at the New York School of Interior Design. So, I mean, how did last semester go? Has the school decided whether they're going to open up this coming fall?
Yeah, all good questions. So I usually do 1 or 2 semesters a year focusing on a hospitality graduate studio. I did not, because I got a little into the wedding planning. I didn't teach last year, but I have been speaking with my colleagues there, and I think they're looking forward to opening in a digital capacity. But I think there's some limitations to international students, which is not great, but I don't know that anything's written in stone. I think everybody's preparing for the best and bracing for the worst, I think.
Mm-hmm. When you do go back to the office, are you is there a lunch spot around the building that you particularly miss, you're excited to go back to?
I think just going to the park,
Mm-hmm.
you take for granted that we're right across from Bryant Park. So that'll be good to be there, to be actually back in Manhattan and just feel the energy of the streets and the people. That's certainly something that gets my juices flowing.
I think there's been a lot of focus on being outdoors.
Yeah.
So even, before we get a vaccine and the proper treatments, which we know may take some time, one thing that has been shown to help is being outdoors. So I can see New Yorkers, take advantage of pre-existing public spaces, and hopefully our government adding in more public spaces, more of those pedestrian plazas,
Yes.
limiting cars. I've been in Manhattan for since the shutdown started. And one of the nice things about this has been the lack of cars on the street. There are more bikers, there are more, people, our sidewalks are small. Now the restaurants are pushing into the street, which I don't mind at all, aside from the fact that it helps the restaurants stay open. It just limits the amount of cars, which I think it will be better for the city.
Absolutely. Having that connection to outdoors has certainly given me some peace of mind. And, when you just see the power of the waves just rolling in and rolling out, it puts things into perspective that we might feel stuck, but, we're still on a very lively place. We live in a place that's just never stagnant.
Right. Wow. I love that analogy. And, reminding ourselves that we're as much part of nature as those waves that are constantly coming in and out and changing shapes.
I am itching for the day that, we get back to playing beach volleyball. That's my vice here in the summer. So hopefully we'll advance to volleyball not being on the blacklist of activities. But
yeah, you gotta hand sanitize it before each hit. Well, I'm really glad to hear that you're staying positive. It's been really fun catching up with you. Well, hopefully we'll meet up in Long Beach, and the whole audience will look out for what's coming out of HOK and from across your desk over the next few months. And
absolutely.
Want to wish you again congratulations on your marriage.
Thank you very much. And thank you for giving me an excuse to get out of my pajamas.
You could have done this in pajamas. We wouldn't have judged. But we appreciate your respect for the show.